Alrighty, this is part 2 of the 86 CIS Kay Jett removal for the injectors. And the reason I had to take a break, it's Florida, it's 90 something degrees outside at least. I don't know for sure, but it's hot. I'm in nearly direct sunlight. These are the Voldemort of sockets. They really are. The socket, the tool to which name we do not speak. These are snap-on, and they are swivel socket 1/4 inch drive. I got them on this rail instead of the other one because I don't want to drop them. This is a twist lock. Now these are snap-on. This set is from 8mm to I think 14 or 15, something like that. And this is a $600 set, sadly. And the reason is I don't know anyone else who's got them. They've got a lifetime warranty at least, but if you've got a European car, sadly, you need them. Sadly. Yeah, they suck. I mean, they're useful, but they're for when you're in places that are just so awful that there just ain't real words for it. And the reason is because they're made to get up in behind stuff. And when you're that far in behind stuff, it's generally not very pleasant. Like this spot here, I don't know why they needed to make it that way. I really don't. In my mind, that does not make any more sense. I like Snap-on, but I don't like their prices, to be honest with you. Their prices are pretty sucky. Am I gonna need an extension? I am. You know, Rolls-Royces aren't that bad, but they're not that good either. And the reason is it's not that the powertrain is bad. I mean, this is a turbo hydromatic 400 Chevrolet transmission inside of a Rolls-Royce casing, but the but the turbo 400 rebuild kits still work. The problem is nobody likes touching these things. So unless you know how to work on it yourself or can figure it out, don't get one. It is expensive to have these things worked on for no apparent reason. And a big part of that is because everybody's afraid of them. They're like, oh goodness, that's a Rolls. I don't want to touch that unless, you know, they're wanting to add several $1,000s on top of the bill. Number one, because they're afraid of it. And I mean, they really don't want to touch it in the first place usually. And two, is you're paying for their learning curve. To work on a Rolls Royce, for some of it, you got to have, you know, study at least 3 or 4 hours a week of advanced calculus and astrophysics and gematria and numerology. Honestly, it's not that bad. They're really cool. It's just for real though. You're gonna want to work on it yourself and know how to cross-reference. And that's an easy enough thing to do. What you do is you take the part number for the part you need, and you just start doing some cross-referencing. You Google it, you find out what else it fits. Because if you don't enter in the fact that it's a Rolls-Royce or what it is, you just enter in that part number. I mean, a lot of times part numbers do not overlap. Now, sometimes they do, but that's when you use a little bit of discernment to figure out what's going on. Now, you see, you can't get a wrench up in this spot, and you can't get a regular socket up in this spot. So that's where these funky sockets come in handy. Okay, not really sure why they had that many spacers and that long of a bolt, but okay. Rolls-Royces will make you question everything. They really will. Wow, that's a heck of a spacer, isn't it? All right, got that thing on. Thank heavens. 700 days later. It's only been, I don't know, 30 minutes. I had to take a break. guess that's the EGR valve set up. This freaking, there is a hose clamp on an EGR line. Oh my goodness. What in the heck? Which ones did I take off? I really don't know. Kind of scratching my head on this one. Let's try this, I guess. Allergies are messing with me today. Is that too big or too small? I don't remember. Too big. Wow. That's neat. Those aren't frozen. That is cool. I guess this car only has about 50,000 miles on it. A lot of times these cars don't have high mileage because the original people who own them just get rid of them after a couple years. And the reason is, well, they get the newer model, you know? I mean, they're rich people, they don't care. Not saying I have anything against anybody, but they end up selling them to a second person, and then the second person gets it, and that's when it begins having problems because it's no longer in warranty, so it's not covered, and they get scared by the prices. Like wheel bearings for the rear end of this are like $1,900 a piece plus shipping, and in reality, it is the same wheel bearings. If you read the Timken number on them and you look up by Timken number, because there's only 3 or 4 different companies who make wheel bearings, you will find what else they fit. Like for instance, the rear wheel bearings on this also fit a 2500 Chevrolet pickup, which is neat. Them lines are serious. That's, oh, wrong thing. It's missing a nut though. And for that bottom one, I may also have to use that funky swivel socket. I would have bought a cheaper set, but they're really just, there isn't anybody who makes them, sadly. They're a very specific style of socket, to be honest. The easiest thing is going to be that funky swivel socket, sadly. They do have their purpose, and they work well for that purpose. It's just, when you've got to use them, it's never in a good spot. I initially got these because I was putting a steering column in my Jaguar, and you got to reach up in an unpleasant location in between this column and the lower section of the dash, below, just below the gauge cluster, and 2 feet up into the dashboard with an extension. But you got to go through that hole in between the column and the dash, which is only about an inch wide if you're lucky, and it's an electric tilt and telescope. So if it's not up where you need it, you got to figure out how to get it up there. And if it don't work, well, you're not changing it, basically. Unless you go straight up from the bottom 2 feet up into the dash with another one of these sockets to take it down from the top part of the dash, where it's got a bracket that holds it to the very top of the dashboard. And you got to reach that to the bottom, but that's even less pleasant and a lot of things in the way. I mean, if you ain't careful, you'll be four swivels deep, plus the swivel socket. And all of these bolts are 1,000 miles long because of how fine the threads are. You see why I hate these sockets. Goodness. All that gasoline goodness. I've got too many swivels going on. Ratchet change. Ooh, that thing's hot. Ooh, buddy. Oh, why can't you just come out by finger? You're so close. Come on now. Work with me. The white rolls, the 88's looking good though. It's nice. We finally got the hubcaps back on it. It really finishes it off. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Rolls-Royces with hubcaps. And I'm not talking about just over the center cap. I'm talking about an entire wheel cover, basically. Make sure this thing's still filming. How long is this ball? I would thread 500 miles. Ooh. Every rose is its thorns. So that's the EGR crossover valve. That's neat. Distributor's way back in here, and this has actually got a I believe this one in particular is points, but it's also got a ballast in line too, which is kind of neat. It reminds you it's still just a car. That's all they are. That's a weird setup. Thing gave me PTSD. I about grabbed that. I was trying to grab that socket like it was a swivel. This is the point of a swivel, so ratchet. Makes things so much easier. Oh goodness. Yeah, they're not that bad. I'm just a crybaby. Well, now I think I have enough access to actually get in here. Where's the other side of that thing bolted on? Injector 1, injector 2, cool. Oh. This would be a lot easier with an air-conditioned shop. It's really not that bad. It's just monotonous is all it is. But, you know, it's not that big an issue. At least it's something that's repetitive and lets you think. You can truly ponder some cool things when you're working on stuff. My favorite thing to think about when I'm doing stuff like this is what I could do with these parts. I mean, this is a non-computerized fuel injection system, and this is a 6.75 liter big block, basically. I mean, it's a Rolls-Royce. It's not a Chevrolet or a Ford or anything, but, you know, I wonder what they could run. And these came on everything. Saabs, Volvos, BMWs, Porsches, Rolls-Royces, Bentleys. I mean, some of those got some pretty big engines, and you can swap out the injectors you need for different injectors from different systems. And it's basically like big European Lego sets. I'd like to see how easy it is to put one of these on a big block Chevy. Because you can get these far cheaper than you can a sniper kit. And the best part is stainless steel does not like to corrode very much. Just imagine the late 90s Chevy sequential spider injection is basically just an electric form of this, which is neat to think about because all that is a central fuel distributor basically with 8 different plastic lines that lead down to electric injectors that literally just shove in the hole. They're not bolted even. My Yukon's got that, and it works great. And the only difference is this one is the mechanical version of that, where the fuel distributor is its own separate thing. The Yukon's got that little control box that has, you know, a bunch of wires going into it, and then the hose is going out with wires running to each individual injector. That one's not a constant fuel. This one is. But the principle's still the same. This one's just vacuum controlled, which is really cool. I'll do some more videos on it. I'm still learning myself, but it's a really cool setup. It truly is, and it's ingenious the way it works. And I mean, it's a Rolls-Royce. Do I need to tell you they run good? I mean, our white Rolls doesn't run very good because, you know, it's got dirty injectors. We actually found out what was wrong with that. We only had 4 injectors that were any good. And to anyone who's watching who knows anything about anything when it comes to engines, you could tell that it wasn't firing on all cylinders, and y'all probably guessed about the right number. So what we did was we ran it through an ultrasonic bath, and a couple of them actually first, but we ran it through the ultrasonic bath cleaner thing, and then we ran it through a fuel injector tester. It's basically looks like a little tiny hydraulic jack, and we were running diesel fuel and Marvel Mr. Oil at different times through it, and it basically forces it through, and it sprays harder than these do with their fuel system so that it'll blow out all the debris. And then we backflowed them with air and whatnot, and we got all of them but 4 working, and those were basically smoothie straws. I mean, they didn't stop or slow down or have a cone spray pattern of any shape or form. And so those are bad, but we had 8 more from a different vehicle, and so far, out of the 16 injectors that we had, we've got all of them but 4 working. So that's 12 total, and we don't know if these are any good because this car has never run in front of us since we've owned it. And it's been sitting for years, but to consider that those injectors from those other cars, one's an 88, one's an 82, and these are the original injectors. It's weird that one of these is always dirtier than the other. It's always the front one, isn't it? That's strange. Look at that. Ain't those cool? I mean, think about what you could shove those in, and you could make your own lines or cut off the fittings on these and use those fittings with some high pressure lines, and maybe you can't flare the lines because they're stainless steel, but probably take it down to a shop, or even if you wanted to do it yourself, tack it on for some high pressure lines. I think the fuel pressure in this is around 60 to 62, and the injectors themselves pop at 58, roughly 56, 58, somewhere around there. Well, that's all the ones on this side. That's what I needed to do today. So this is disassembly of the driver's side, American driver's side, I should point out. And this is the 4 injectors that I needed. The other 2 are much more other 4 are much more difficult to get to, but this is bank 1. And look at that. You can actually see the debris up in there and pull it off on my fingertips. So these injectors need cleaned. I'll be doing a video about that as well. But for the meantime, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and God bless. Where's my remote at? Got that fancy technology. I make myself laugh trying to be funny.